relax. It's just sports. Take a load off. What a year.
Yeah.
What a year. Happy New Year. Let us be the last to wish you that. If anyone says it after this, arrest them. First, like, subscribe, all the places, Spotify, YouTube, Apple. Leave comments. You guys have been reaching out a lot on TikTok. Love that. Keep doing that. And Instagram, Facebook, all the places. YouTube, obviously. So, yeah, we're going to talk Bengals. We're going to talk about UC, kind of juicy stuff with the transfer portal opening. There was a bowl game that happened. We won't spend too long on that because,
yikes.
As my sister says, gaff. That's a thing. I didn't even know what that was.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
gaff. Mm-hmm. I thought it'd be IDGAF. Like, I don't gaff.
But the thing is that, like, you can't say IDG.
Exactly.
So you just have to get rid of the part that you can't say.
This is where my fringe millennial Gen Z lies. It's at gaff.
Okay.
College basketball, you see some tea from there. Xavier. Cincy doing the news, we will also be talking college basketball, not to do with Cincy or Xavier. And if we have time, we're going to talk a little bit of some tea with the World Baseball Classic that has to do with the Reds. Good?
Yeah.
The Cincinnati Bengals end the season by not sending them home happy. That's almost a win because every year they send them home happy, send them home happy. They win the last game of the year. They did not this year.
Nobody was happy.
It was gross. 20-18, losing to the Cleveland Browns. Andre Schmidt, the kicker for the Browns, who literally gifted the Bengals their first win of the season, ices it the second and final game of the season.
Kind of poetic, though.
Yeah, kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
Like two teams who had no business still playing football. I mean, to the point where Kevin Stefanski, the Browns head coach, lost his job the next day. He'll be a top head coaching candidate anywhere. He is probably like, thank you for firing me.
Yeah, he was probably begging to be fired.
Was it a firing or a parting of ways?
Oh, thank you for asking, because we did publish a story yesterday that said each one as they were. So it was like Raheem Morris was dismissed.
Yeah. I love this.
Yeah, no, I believe Kevin Stefanski was fired.
That's crazy.
And Pete Carroll parted ways, is what I want to say.
Yeah, you can't fire a geriatric man. Oh, yeah, Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's too old to get fired. Yeah. He's too old to get hired. He's too old to get fired. I think it's like an ageist hate crime if you fire Pete Carroll. So Kevin Stefanski fired, not parting of ways. Interesting. He'll be a top head coaching candidate where he will not be taking any time off, as I saw some of the local people in Cleveland said that he doesn't want to take any time off and he will not have to. He was just he was a 2-time coach of the year.
I know. It's sad when that happens.
Both with the Browns. No one can win in Cleveland.
No.
Except if they're playing the Bengals, apparently. So, yeah, from that game, what stood out, I love what Zach Taylor said at the end of the game about his message to the team was, it felt fitting how they lost, which it was. They gave up 14 points on offense. Pick six and a fumble recovery strip from Noah Fant for a touchdown. So Noah Fant, that happened to him this time. Noah Fant has fumbled and let up a touchdown because of it 3 times this year.
Yeah.
That's more than most of the NFL.
And how many games has Noah Fant played in?
I don't have that number in
but
front
it's
of me.
Not
but
the
majority.
Whole, but it's not the whole season. So I'm like,
still.
he's really acing the fumble for touchdown 5.
And I think he was a net add to the team. I did see someone say, when did Noah Fant turn into Irv Smith? That made me laugh.
When he came to the Bengals.
Yeah.
That's
literally.
when.
No. And I think Noah was a net add to this team, but that's just...
Can I make a comment that I keep seeing, and we'll talk more about the Bengals moving into next season and what their thoughts were. I keep seeing people continuously, players and coaches, talk about after the bye, we turn things around.
Defensively, they're saying.
And they do say that. They still lost 4 games, right?
Yeah.
They still gave up plenty of points they shouldn't have. So I'm like, we need to stop acting like the turnaround was and then we went undefeated and we really felt good about ourselves.
No.
It was not a joyful time.
I hear that. I 100%.
But if you listen to Zach Taylor's press conference on Monday, it was very much I think, we really turned things around. And I was like, well, you turned some stuff around, but we're not a complete product right now.
So, do you want to talk about Zach Taylor's press conference from Monday first? Or do you want to go through this game? Because I have thoughts on that.
No, go through the game.
Yeah, so we're going to come back to Zach Taylor's press conference.
But I thought that the defense just was...
Here's what I have to say about the defense. They were historically bad before the bye. Mm-hmm. They were below average after the bye. Al Golden, the reason they brought him in as the defensive coordinator, and this is not me saying, do I think it's right, do I think it's wrong? This is just like the facts of, they brought Al Golden in because they liked him when he was here as a linebackers coach, and Al Golden, from his college experience as well, has what they believe to be a knack for developing players. Al had gotten here a little bit later because he was on the championship run with Notre Dame. And they had him getting a lot of rookies ready. Both linebackers starting are rookies. And you go down the list. So Al's whole thing that they wanted him to do, besides run the defense, is to develop their young talent. So the argument is that the young talent, and statistically this does back up, got better as the season went on, which is a normal thing.
Yes.
So if you're looking at it from that perspective, that they got so much better, they did, from going from historically bad to not a good NFL defense, but you could score a couple points, have a couple drinks, and trick somebody.
Yeah, like the part that kind of gets me is like they were 32nd in like yards allowed. You know, like they were at the very back of the class.
And a lot of that was that 6-game stretch.
Well, no, I'm talking about at the time. And then at the end of the year, they moved up to 31st. Sure. And I'm like, okay, congrats. That definitely is an improvement. But like I watched this game, all love to the Browns, bad team. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. They're better than they were when they were terrible, but I still am not like, wow.
No, I think they saw steps in the right direction. I think that's all that was.
I think we're just leaning too much into the steps in the right direction. Like
I'm not.
No, but as a whole, like everybody's like, no, I really see the vision. I see, and I'm like, maybe.
I think the only thing that you absolutely can give credit when it's like, okay, I hear it and see you on that. Fans don't want to hear this, but it's true. Zach Taylor said it on Monday. They were missing their highest paid players on offense and on defense, Joe Burrow and Trey Hendrickson, for the majority of the season. And Joe Burrow on offense actually does affect defense because of the tempo of the game, if they're playing from ahead, if they're playing from behind, how quickly they're scoring. Those numbers do get skewed a little bit. And now I'm not giving excuses. The defense was abysmal this year. Abysmal. The Bengals were, as Joe Burrow said, a bad football team this year. So I'm just going to where I see what they're saying. Like, yes, I'm with you. It's not like they turned it around and turned it into the 2000 Ravens defense or, or the 85 Bears, but like
or even like lose defenses from like the AFC Championship year.
Correct.
They turned that around and legitimately look significantly better in the playoffs.
But look at the players that were on that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I just think whenever I keep hearing after the game, coaches, specifically Zach Taylor, really just being like, no, like we've really turned things around. I see this, and I'm like, you definitely turned something around, but I don't think it was a 180.
What's Zach supposed to say there, though?
Well, I mean, what Zach should say is like, yeah, we really sucked a lot, and this is what I want to do in the offseason to fix that.
And we don't know that he's not saying that internally.
But he does not say that out loud. Even when he was asked, he was asked about it multiple times on Monday, and he didn't really say much other than like, I like this team. I like what we're going
And that's why he's a player's coach, which is what I asked him about.
Which is what they all love about him, yeah.
And that's why they play for him, and that's why Joe Burrow has not requested a trade yet, why he does have a job
he's still the head coach.
Why he's still the head coach. So I hear, but like, would it make the fans happier genuinely if Zach Taylor was like, our defense is horrible. They don't deserve to be in the NFL, and I want absolutely nothing to do with them. Let's blow this thing up and start over. Would that make fans happy? Because all that would do is say, okay, I lost the locker room, and now I have absolutely nowhere to go forward, no plan. We don't have that in place.
But I don't actually think that that's what he needed to say. I think he could have said, 100%, we had rookies. Obviously, things were bad. I think he needs to stop relying on the Trey Hendrickson reasons because, like, that's not my problem to deal with. That's your problem to deal with, that you all signed Trey Hendrickson for another year for a bunch of money that he didn't play for. That's not my problem. And I also think that he just needs to talk about what he doesn't go into detail about, we really want to pick up some, like, good, like, he's not saying, like, I loved what our rookie linebackers were able to do at the end, and I want to add to them by grabbing some key pieces in this place. He's just kind of like, I like what our rookies did, and we're going to do some off-season changes. And I'm like, what off-season changes?
When he was pressed on that, he goes, I'm not going to share that here, which, fair. I wouldn't either, because every other NFL team is going to hear what your plan is.
But it's like, everybody knows what you need.
Sure, but no other team is saying what they need.
Sure.
But, like, you bring up the linebackers. On multiple times this season, when we asked about Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter getting better, he would say this is their 13th and 8th game in the NFL, respectively.
I know, I got so tired of hearing it.
Right, but like that's him saying what you want him to say.
Sure. My part is less about past and looking back and more about future. I just felt like in the postseason presser and post-game presser, he wasn't really like providing much other than like, yeah, it's crazy that Trey was out and that really impacts stuff, and we got rookies, but we're looking good in the future. And I was like, okay, wrap it up, Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, no, I want to get to that Monday presser afterwards because there is a lot I want to talk about that and why I think he acted the way he did in it. Mm-hmm. And I also don't agree with what a lot of people were saying about being in the room was very different than the people I think watching it on screen, because a lot of people told me what they felt about on the screen. So I went back and actually rewatched it like on a screen as opposed to being there, and I hear them, and I'm going to tell you what the vibe was in the room in a second. Let's get through this Browns game first, because otherwise we're just going to skip over it completely. And we pretty much could. I mean, what else is there from there?
The only other thing I wanted to talk about was the Myles Garrett game stoppage gate.
Yeah. So I was in both of those rooms. I was literally this far from Jamar Chase when he said it. None of that was shots at Myles.
You're talking about the fact that they stopped the game.
So they stopped the game when the Bengals were driving. Myles Garrett got his record-breaking 23rd sack in a single season, noting that there is one more game than Michael Strahan got.
Noting that he had 100 less snaps than Michael Strahan to do it.
Oh, I'm not. I think Myles Garrett's the best defensive lineman to ever play football.
Yeah, I just wanted to, people keep saying, well, there's one more game, and I'm like, he had significantly less snaps to do it in, but sure.
And TJ Watt also has 22 and a half. Mm-hmm. So Myles Garrett breaks the record. Everyone, all the talk about this game was, when. It wasn't the Bengals and Browns. It was Myles Garrett's sack record game. His dad was in the stands with the big camera lens. Myles got the pregame and postgame interviews on CBS. Like, that's what everyone was talking about. Joe Burrow was talking about it earlier in the week. He's like, yeah, Joe Burrow, who famously has been sacked by Myles Garrett more than any other quarterback in the NFL.
Fitting.
And he's like, yeah, you know, it'll just be another one he got me on or whatever he said. I mean, he sacked him 3 times week 1 this year. Mm-hmm. So Myles, it was just a matter of time. Myles was close a couple times. Myles gets him in, was it the 3rd or 4th quarter?
It was the 4th.
4th quarter, yeah, because they were driving to try and take the lead. And you would have thought they just won the AFC Championship, the way the Browns were acting. Everyone clears the sidelines. They're celebrating. But great, you made history in a game that doesn't matter. I'm all for that. So the argument after the game, Zach Taylor was asked about it. It wasn't like he brought this up on his own. Zach Taylor was asked about it, and Zach said, you know, I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially he was like, we were fighting for our lives trying to...
I'm sorry, that's the part that really eats me up.
You have to understand, though, when these guys are coming off of the field, like this was like 5 minutes after.
We were fighting for our lives in weeks. Just kidding. I'm like, what are you talking
about? That is fair. We're 6 and 10. We're fighting for our lives.
For my life.
Well, this was before he knew he had his job back, for sure. So maybe low-key fighting for his life and his family.
Although he said in the presser that I already knew where I was. So I was like, okay, Zach. Anyway, yes, they were fighting for their lives.
They're fighting for their lives. They're trying. Take the fighting for their lives quote out of it, because a lot of times these people say something they don't mean to say because the game just ended. Are you good?
It's just the funniest thing he could have said.
So they're trying to win a football game,
which is his livelihood.
Which is his livelihood. Yeah, that's pretty funny. So they're trying to win a football game, and the thing was, he's like, they stopped the game, which he actually, I don't think had as much of a problem with them, the fact that they stopped the game when he got the sack. It's just they never said anything about it. There was a 90-minute meeting before the game, which they have, for those who don't know, coaching staffs with the communications team meet with the refs about any irregularities about the game, and a lot of times the coaches will give like the refs a heads up. Like, hey, on 3rd down, when we know like Myles is obviously going for that sack, we will probably do a few extra hard counts to try to get them to go off sides. Something like that. I made that up, sort of, not really, but like let's just pretend I made that up. And they did that multiple times and it worked. So like the refs know what to look out for because there's so many rules in football, so much minutia. Like they give them heads up. So there's no way that Myles Garrett's sack record wasn't brought up at some point. Zach Taylor said they did not say they would stop the game beforehand. So and then the referees, his explanation, because if you saw the video, Zach was furious, explained it to Zach saying, we just made a call and thought this.
In the moment. Which I honestly think is the right call.
I think the right call, like they do this in baseball all the time. Why are you rolling your eyes?
No, they do it in baseball all the time. I mean, I have personally been victimized by them doing it in baseball.
Yeah.
When Acuna got like the stolen base record.
Yes.
And that was a game that did matter.
But my point is that was decided before the game.
Yeah, that one was not decided before the game because the Cubs actually had the exact same "we're fighting for our lives" quote, except for in that case, the Cubs were fighting for their lives. They were trying to get in the playoffs, and they were like, we're stopping?
So my point is, this happens across sports. Yeah. In baseball, maybe the Acuna one is the outlier.
That one killed me.
But like, for example, like when Aaron Judge was going for the home run record, like it was said, if Judge gets the home run record, we're going to give the Yankees and Aaron Judge that moment for the American League home run record. If you're playing a game, like a professional sport, and you know, like they're not dumb, these guys. They know what's going on. That has to be decided before the game. Yeah. Especially when you're talking about a clock-dependent thing. Like, we saw like when LeBron James like broke the points record for whatever milestone. Like that stuff is normal, and I think it should have its moment in celebration.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, I do believe in the Lakers when that was not spoken about before the game either.
But they got a technical, didn't they?
No, I don't think so. I believe the opposing coach was like, we had no clue because it was OKC, I think, and he was like, we had no clue that was happening. But whatever.
So my point is,
they didn't care that
officials
much.
need to just be better. Like acknowledge what's going on, and maybe it's the coaches too. Should have the foresight of saying, hey.
Like, what do you guys want me to do? Am I supposed to take time out? Are you guys going to pause?
Oh.
And then that would have immediately made them go, oh, yeah, we should probably stop the game.
So I disagree with you that you don't say it like that because you don't offer up your free time out because at that point you don't know if you need it.
But I think that he would, like, hello, when people talk about stuff, they literally say, like, do you want me to, like, call a timeout? Or are you guys going to do something? If you put that onus on them, they're immediately going to be like, clearly it makes sense for us to.
Or if I was Kevin Stefanski, what I would have done is, listen, I can try to control my guys to the best of my ability. If our captain breaks a record who everyone loves, it's going to be a big deal. I think you guys should stop the game for 30 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, no matter
what. That's what they did.
Sure. But let's move on from that because that's not even the part that I actually care that much about.
The Jamar Chase comments?
Yeah, I care about like both Zach and Jamar's comments and then, of course, them getting absolutely eaten up. They both got absolutely
They did get eaten up. They did get eaten up. So Zach Taylor said what we spoke about, how they're fighting for their lives, and that pregame, he said they should have said something to us pregame.
That part's true.
I think everything's like maybe not the way he said it because it did come off that he was like angry, but like I think it was also that they just dropped the 6-11 and lost to the Cleveland Browns. Like I don't think it was
flop city. Yeah.
And Zach was like, we didn't make subs. We were trying to get back to the line to move. Like if any other player sacked Joe Burrow there, like they were on the line ready to go. Like I don't even think like in the moment they were like thinking like, oh, Myles just got the record. I think it was more like how fast an NFL game moves. Like when you're in it, like you're not like.
It's just the only part of the game that anybody like was talking about, and game they were talking about.
1,000%. But we're talking about the guys who are actually being paid to win.
Like, no, I know, but I bet like as soon as Joe fell to the ground, he was like, and that was his.
Right, but you're not thinking like here's a stoppage. No. Like you're thinking like we're playing football.
But if I'm the Bengals, I'm like, great. Like I don't care a stoppage after a sack on me. I'm chilling.
No, so the reason they didn't want it was because they were trying to rush the Browns to the line of scrimmage.
Sure.
I don't know why you're so cynical about it. I think it's legit.
It's not cynical. I just think, like, if you are the Bengals and this happened to you, number one, don't give up the sack. Oh, that didn't happen.
Fine.
Number two, oh, we're rushing to the line. Oh, I guess we get extra time to sit here and
But
talk
that's the
about
whole,
what we
strategically,
wanted to do.
they didn't want extra
But
time.
I'm like, the Browns weren't huddling up like, this is what we're going to do. They were like, Myles, go say hi to your dad.
Well, they were essentially, right, but they were I hear you.
You know, so I'm like,
but they're giving
there's
them
no
time, like,
competitive
they were
disadvantage for the Bengals. in
Oh,
that
I so
situation.
disagree with that.
I don't.
We're talking about guys who, after a sack play, they're catching their breath still. Like, you're trying to catch them off guard.
Sure, but I also just
So that
think,
is a competitive disadvantage. Then.
I think that like the competitive disadvantage dies when they're like also not paying attention and running around loosely and like having a great time celebrating Miles, and then they come back and they're like, what play are we on?
I don't agree with. I mean, they did wind up scoring on the drive, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, it really didn't matter. So shut up. Not you, but them. Like I'm
I'm
it
with
did not
you, but
matter.
I don't think it's right to say it's not a competitive disadvantage. I think all the things are true. I agree they should have enjoyed the Miles part. I think he got his moment, and that's awesome, and I think it should have been. I also think probably should have been. It should have been discussed beforehand, and if it wasn't discussed beforehand, it should have been a flag.
Sure.
Like
I'm fine with that. I just think like.
And I think Zach Taylor has every right to be mad about it.
Yeah, that's where you lose me. I actually think like Jamar has more of a case because they're like on the field and they're like, wait, what's happening? I don't know.
Wait, why does Jamar have more of a case than Zach does? Because it's the same thing.
No, I'm saying like Jamar would be like, oh, okay, so I'm not lining up and confused. Zach Taylor should like immediately look at the situation and be like, well, I guess they're celebrating Myles Garrett now. Anyway, let me put together the plan that I want for this next run.
In the
like,
moment,
I
it's
just
so
don't think
easy to
it's that
do
big
that
of a
when you're
deal.
not on the field and not in the moment. Like,
Yeah, but like neither of us have actually been on the field for that moment, and like the people who have, i.e. like Rex Ryan, they were all like, shut up.
I'm a lover of Rex Ryan. Like, Rex Ryan is
You
like,
have to be, I think, right?
yeah, growing up a Jets fan. Rex
Yeah,
Ryan's
like
my
it's
guy.
required.
He says some stuff.
He says crazy stuff, but like the reaction, like I watched the Get Up segment where they talked about it. Not a person in that room cared about what Zach Taylor said.
Of course not, because they're not.
But they've been in those situations.
But they're not in that situation.
Sure, but they've been in big situations where stuff happens.
Of course.
You cannot say that you're fighting for your life.
I agree with that. I just understand why Zach was upset. He wasn't going to bring it up after the game. It was because he was pressed on it.
Yeah, I just think if I were pressed on it, I would have been like, I didn't know that we were going to stop for it. But then at the end of the day, we scored, and I don't care.
I agree with you. I think that's the way he should have went about it.
But he did sound angry.
He was angry.
But that's what I'm saying. So, like, if he had been like, I don't really get why we stopped, or they didn't tell me we were going to stop before, but it ended up not mattering. But instead, he was like, we were fighting for our lives out there. Which just eats me up.
But I also think he was worried about his job in that moment. I think he was worried about losing to the Browns.
And he did lose, and he still didn't lose his job.
But he didn't know that. At that moment in time, he did not know that.
If Zach Taylor was this close to getting fired this year.
Do you know how much of that is internal, though?
No, I know. But I'm saying if he was this close to getting fired this year and losing to the Browns still kept him hired, I want to know what the line was to get fired. Was it like a 40 loss, a 40-point loss?
And here's the issue. So I think not just you, but where everyone else might not be empathizing with where Zach's head was probably at. Yeah, Joe could love him. Yeah, Jamar could like him. His fate is in a 90-year-old man's hand who every week could say to him, Mike Brown, we don't know because Mike Brown doesn't talk to us besides once a year. Mm-hmm. He could be saying to him, just keep working hard and doing your best out there, and we'll figure it out, and we'll talk, and I believe in you. And that's all well and good until one day he just says, nah, I lost to the Browns, my dad's old team. Nah, you're done. So as much as he could be assured, Zach Taylor, just like everyone else, watches football. Just like everyone else, hears what's going on. It's a lot to hear from everywhere. Not that he doesn't deserve it, but it's a lot to hear every day you should be fired. It's a lot to hear, go to the coffee shop, go to whatever, and, the whole city wants you gone.
Yeah.
So,
I would press you to be better.
I agree.
I just don't feel a lot of empathy for someone who gets paid so much and has had so long. I'd feel sympathetic if it was Zach Taylor's second year and things were flopping, that kind of thing. But in this situation, I'm if you were so scared about your job in that moment and you still lost the game and you still kept your job, the level for which you needed to get fired must have been all the way up here. It must have been catastrophic.
But I'm talking about internal mental health. It could have just been in the back of his head.
Maybe.
And something else bubbles up. Who hasn't blown up on someone before because they're mad about something else?
Oh, plenty of people have. That's just where you're in a press conference and you know that you're not supposed to do that.
and these guys live in front of a camera. And like, listen, there's a lot of
Like
players
he's
that agree with
super
that.
PR trained, like
And
vibes.
I think it cracked. And he's also, after a game, right after a game, he is known to be emotional.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear and I agree with almost everything you're saying. I just think I don't agree with you when it comes to empathy, because it's hard when just knowing the guy and being whatever. I like him, obviously.
Yeah.
But
He seems like a nice guy. That's never been my problem with him.
Right, but just as someone who like is in the room with him 4 days a week, who knows about his family, who like whatever, like obviously this is the business, they all sign up for it, they know it. But my point is, when you're saying like I have no empathy for someone in that case, like I do.
Yeah,
And I always will. Like, I don't love to talk about firing coaches. Like, I don't love to do that, because we're talking about, it's not even like that. To me, the reason I don't love to talk about firing coaches is feel like I am a kindred spirit of like a dream chaser, of someone who's like going for something and like they've achieved their dreams, and then because someone else deems they're not good enough, that they lose their dreams.
Oh yeah, that just like totally didn't speak to me at all. Just like none, because this is not, he has achieved the dream. He has done the thing. Like, it's a different situation when like, I actually think that if anybody should be really kind of perturbed about their situation this year, it should be like Raheem Morris, who like most of his problems were GM induced.
Yeah.
He lost his quarterback just like Zach Taylor did this year.
They still went 8-9, which is the same as
and
everyone
they
else in
went
the
8-9.
NFC, so.
Everyone else, they literally basically were tied for first, but lost to like 3.
Yeah.
So for him, and then he just gets fired that night. For him, I'm like, I understand. You've only been there 2 seasons. You've had Kirk Cousins, the corpse of Kirk Cousins, and you've had Michael Penix, who got hurt already. So you haven't really gotten the opportunity to like show your stuff. For someone like Zach Taylor, I'm like, you have made millions. You have shown your stuff. You have done a lot. I am no longer like, wow, I hope he can achieve this big dream. Like, if Kyle Shanahan hasn't won the Super Bowl, like, I don't, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be like, man, I really hope
I'm
for
not
Zach.
hoping. I'm just saying, like, there's empathy and there's sympathy.
But
like,
I'm
where
like,
you're saying you don't have empathy, I do.
Yeah, because I think, like, Zach is an adult with a job. We all have jobs. We all sometimes aren't good enough at the job that we have.
I think when people
get laid off all the time, people get fired all the
Sure.
time.
And I feel bad for those people. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like just because, like, it doesn't have to be like
But
one or
those
the
people
other.
don't have like millions of dollars to like rest on.
Okay, like now we're talking about like a very.
But that's
yeah.
really, that's the coaching world though, is like, okay, well, you got fired, but at least you have your $2 million check that you had. You know, like they have a lot of like,
but like
back.
it's not. But what I'm saying is, it's not about money. Is why I feel.
No, but I
empathy.
mean, like, if Zach Taylor got fired today, he would go be an
I wouldn't
assistant.
be crying, but
no,
like,
but I'm saying he would go be an assistant at another team and he'd get another shot later.
Maybe.
So for me, it's not that crazy. For some people, I am like, oh wow, like for Raheem Morris, I don't know if there's another chance for Raheem. He's already done a head coaching job
Yeah.
before. I don't know. So I'm like, wow, that's
I could also
really
feel bad for
struggle.
Raheem Morris.
Yeah, but I'm
like
like,
it's not
but
one or
there's
the
some
other.
people that I'm like, I understand the plight and how difficult your situation was. For Zach Taylor, I'm like, I don't know, you had, as Nick Lachey said, you had Joe Burrow, you have all these people.
So I feel bad for guys like Raheem Morris, for Zach Taylor. Like, yeah, I don't feel bad for Zach Taylor because if he doesn't do it this year, I don't feel bad anymore. But my point is, like, I don't feel bad for those. I feel bad for those guys, in theory. I don't feel bad for, like, a Brian Kelly. I feel bad for guys who abuse their position and abuse their power. Like, I don't feel bad for those guys. The people who have, like, made it to a dream and are doing all the right things, I root for them. And that's regardless of if they play for the Bengals, the Seahawks, the Cincinnati Cyclones. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So that's just,
and that's
we're
just
going too far
really
down this rabbit hole.
beautiful.
But
You're a very empathetic person.
I am.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think
it's also different knowing them and being there.
Yeah.
And even if you don't know them personally, you know someone who's known them, or you know someone who talks about like what they were like in high school. Like it humanizes them.
Yeah, and I think
And you're most fans.
And I think that Zach Taylor as a person seems like a great guy. I do not care about Zach Taylor as a coach.
That's fine.
And I think that is how most fans feel.
Oh, most fans want him fired.
Yeah.
That's why Mike Brown put out a press release.
Yeah, so Mike Brown put out a press release saying, unfortunately for our New Year's resolution, both Duke Tobin and Zach Taylor are staying.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. What in that letter / the response to that letter actually shocked you? Because for me, it was nothing.
The letter.
The letter, just
The
the
letter.
written.
He never does that. Mike Brown directly addressing everyone, saying that we have not basically gotten to where we need to be, the championship caliber that we should be, and that Zach Taylor and Duke Tobin, after thoughts and consideration, they're staying. Basically saying, we thought about it. We thought about canning
See,
them.
I didn't think that that's what he was saying.
If he said that,
I thought he was trying to appease fans and be like, yeah, we thought about it. But
there's no way to know
obviously
from a
saying.
statement. There's no way.
Sure.
But the fact that Mike Brown stays guarded in his ivory tower, like he doesn't say nothing to nobody. Once a year we get him.
Honestly, same with Duke too.
Well, Duke is speaking this Friday, which is something he does. We get him like 2 or 3 times a year. We get him at the Bengals media luncheon. We get him at the combine. I think we sometimes get him at the draft, but usually not.
I can only think of combine. And
Combine,
luncheon.
yeah. He stays away from the media.
Yeah.
So
speaking this week.
But
on
that's
Friday.
clearly hand in hand with the press release.
Yeah, no, these are all changes that they're making, I think, because, I don't know, they saw the billboards, who knows. I just wonder if those are enough, because, the fans are asking for these people to be fired. And, like you said, Zach Taylor, whatever, the players genuinely like him. He's a player's coach. So, if they wanted to keep him because of that, that's fine. But
Duke's an issue. I'll talk about Duke.
to make no changes, does releasing the letter make anybody feel any better about it?
Well, the Bengals are tone deaf.
Yeah. No,
that's not a
That's
question.
been a thing.
They've always been tone deaf.
Yeah.
A lot of pro sports teams are.
Most.
Bengals are tone deaf, and the issue is my belief this whole season, and I've said it is, they just don't have the Jimmies and Joes. They don't have the dudes. The Jimmies and Joes couldn't perform the X's and O's. And that's not a Zach Taylor issue. That's not an Al Golden issue. That's not a Dan Pitcher issue. That's a Duke Tobin issue.
Yeah.
That's a scouting department issue. That's the issue. So we get a chance to ask Duke Tobin questions for the first time.
Yeah, I wanted to note what Mike said. We're taking a hard look at everything we do as we approach this offseason with focused determination to build a championship caliber roster. So that does say that they're going to do something in the offseason. What?
Well,
what
naturally they have a draft.
Yeah.
Naturally they're going to have to sign a free agent here and there. They're not going to get a big name. I hope they do, but they won't.
Well, and I mean, I think that's okay because Trey Hendrickson wasn't a big name when he was leaving the Saints. It wasn't like Trey Hendrickson is up there with Myles
No,
Garrett.
neither was B.J. Hill, and neither was D.J. Reader.
Yeah. So it's they can get a I don't want to say mid-hyped person.
Yeah.
But
there was a lot of talk that people wanted them to get Cam Jordan last year coming from New Orleans, and then he re-signed with the Saints, and he had 10 sacks.
Yeah.
I think it's more going to be who, yes, they're going to add, but it's going to be a lot of who they're saying goodbye to. I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see Joseph Osai back. I wouldn't be shocked if
he did really well this year.
He definitely got better.
Yeah. He didn't play in the last game
where he could have gotten an incentive for $250,000 if he got a sack.
But you know what he said? Similar to our conversation about Zach Taylor? I'll have a job next year, and that's all that matters. It might not be here, but I'll have a job and I'll find it.
I was in that conversation with him, and I think, I think that's someone who knows their job probably won't be here this year.
Yeah, but I like that outlook of I'll find a job and it'll be okay.
Yeah, and I think, not to get into this whole thing again because I don't want to and we don't have enough time, but the difference between a guy like that and a guy like a Zach Taylor or a head coach is Zach Taylor is the organization, is the city. Joseph Osai is cashing paychecks to get 4 sacks a year. It's a little different.
Yeah.
And I like Joseph. I think, there's a good chance Taylor Britt's gone.
The recently
arrested and now in jail, most likely at the time of this recording.
Yeah, he got in trouble for reckless driving. He is sentenced to 5 days in jail. Confinement does not have to be consecutive. He can literally just go on the weekends.
I bet he'll be going during the week.
So I'm sure he'll be quickly out.
Yeah. But there's a good chance he's not back. I say goodbye to him as if,
That was that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Dalton Reisner, who knows. I hope he's back. He was a great. He told us he felt he was playing the best football of his career towards the end.
He looked great.
Ted Karras, Amarius Mims, they were both we want him back. So there's a lot of guys and they're going to pick guys up along the way. I mean, one of the good things is the Bengals offense that did look good.
There's
10
not
of
much
the
you
11
need to do about
starters
that.
are under contract.
Yeah.
It's the defense, and what are they going to do with edge rushers? What are they going to do at safety? What are they going to do? Like T.J. Turner, great corner this year, led the NFL, I think, or second in the NFL in pass breakups. Dax Hill, towards the end of the year, looks like he's cornerback too. Linebackers need to be better, but the whole thing is like the quote we were talking about earlier. So I think things are going to look different. Someone's going to get signed. They're going to, they have the 10th overall pick now. So this is the first time since Jamar Chase that they've had a top 10 pick. And you could really talk about who can they add to this team. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. They're probably going to mess it up.
I would say, yeah. I'm sure it'll be a defensive lineman.
It should be an edge rusher.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure.
Miles Murphy had a good end to his year too. But
He did.
but neither Osai or Murphy are your number one edge rushing option.
And they're never supposed to be.
They should be rotational guys.
Yeah. I think that's the problem is this season was asking Joseph Osai to be Trey Hendrickson. That's not Joseph Osai.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the point.
Yeah. They'll get someone, and they'll hope they get better. I mean, I think the difference is the Bengals historically, besides for Burrow, Higgins, and Chase, have been a let's develop our guys. They need rookie ready guys.
Yeah.
Like Miles Murphy first coming around now. Like we're talking Dax Hill finally finding his footing now.
Which is like
they moved him around so much.
Yeah, but I was gonna say I actually think like that is supposed to be what your team is. You're supposed to get people like Patrick Mahomes and let him sit, learn for a year, let him like work his way in after a couple of years.
And that's what it was supposed to be in the 90s and early 2000s. The league's changed.
No, but now, especially with the Bengals, it's like you come in, you need to start.
And the NIL's changed that too because guys are staying.
They're 27.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Demetrius Knight, fully married, 2 kids, and 25 years old as a rookie or whatever the heck it was. Like, and he started. What else we got here for the Bengals?
I think that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Other than I mean, fans have obviously been really mad from just the reaction we get on our own social posts.
Yeah, but like I get it.
I understand it. I think we'll definitely dive deeper into off-season NFL draft, all that kind of stuff
as it
later.
comes.
Yeah, but that is, I think, our official postmortem.
Okay.
But we got another team that also lost their last game of the season to talk about.
Yeah, who cares about that though?
We don't care about the game. We don't care about the game.
Cincinnati lost to Navy.
No Pop-Tart Bowl.
No Pop-Tart Bowl. Liberty Bowl. It was a couple of backup quarterbacks going in and out. Brady Lichtenberg. Congrats to him on a great career. He'll be a great coach somewhere. Cyrus Allen got his record-tying touchdown.
Yeah, not record-breaking, record-tying. Couldn't get another touchdown out there.
He'll go to the league. Joe Royer played. He'll go to the league. Like, it is what it is. I think more of what interested me, because, Navy played everyone. Navy just smoked them, which I think they were like 8-point favorites going into the game.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's not a shock.
They were also ranked 22 in the country. Like, it wasn't like this was like some random. They were 10-2 going into the game. They were a good Navy team. So the biggest news, which we've talked about since, is that Brendan Sorsby left. Brendan Sorsby committed to Texas Tech.
Shock.
Really?
No, we've known about it forever.
Well, it was funny. Another reporter said something to me like, "Oh, he's going to LSU." That's what his crystal ball said. I said, "What? Did he commit?" And he goes, "No." I said, "Well, I guarantee you, he is going to Texas Tech."
Yeah.
He goes, "They can't pay him as much." I'm like, "Oh no. Nobody can pay him as much as Texas Tech. That's why Texas Tech's athletics have completely turned around in the last 2 years."
Well, I read the LSU. So what happened was LSU offered him the match for Texas Tech.
Yeah.
And then he was like, my girlfriend is at Texas Tech and they can up it. So I'm just going to go to Texas Tech.
Yeah,
so yes, sure, LSU did offer, but
Texas
not
Tech
an option.
was able to. It's reported $5 million. I heard it's closer to $7 million. My favorite part was, so Brendan Sorsby from Denton, Texas, played in Indiana after he had really no Division I offers. Indiana to Cincinnati. Cincinnati back to Texas, Lubbock, Texas, Texas Tech. He grew up an Oklahoma fan, actually. Billboard in Times Square, New York City.
Yeah. Can I say, and I know you love Brendan Sorsby.
I do.
And also,
my first school
seems
I
like a
covered
great
was
guy.
Texas Tech.
I am a little shook at how intense it is, as if Brandon Sorsby is like the second coming, like is Joe Burrow-esque, you know?
He's not Joe Burrow-esque.
No, I know he's not, but like I've never seen such a whole show for somebody as Times Square. Like, why?
The Times Square thing is what's funny to me.
But I'm like, what's happening?
Well, he was the
guys?
number 1 ranked guy in the portal.
Yeah, he
And
is.
that's what it
But
is.
I'm just like, what?
Oil money. I'm telling you, I lived out there and I covered that team before NIL. Oil money is different. Watch Landman. Like, oil
Yeah.
money is just different. Then they probably own that billboard in Times Square. Like, it's just different. And I think Brendan Sorsby is maybe the best dual threat quarterback in college football going into next year, like preseason ranking. Like, not who knows what will emerge as the season gets closer.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, 8-9 weeks into the season, it wouldn't have been crazy to say he was in the Heisman race.
Yeah, the problem with Brendan Sorsby that I've witnessed is that he hasn't won a game in November.
What is it? Okay, is that a Sorsby problem, or is that your other favorite
But I
person,
don't
Scott
know.
Satterfield's
But I
problem?
don't know. So I was like,
Too many people thought too highly of him.
yeah.
Too many college football gurus said this is the guy. Like, it wasn't like, oh, Texas Tech or LSU were the only two. Everyone in America
everybody
wanted
was obsessed with him. And I think he is good. I've watched him multiple times. My thing is just, was he good enough for the Times Square thing? Like, are we really doing
Can
this?
I tell you that? Nobody is.
Except for maybe
Burrow's.
LeBron James when he got in the NBA, I guess. But
No, it was very funny to me. And I'm pretty sure that's a rotating billboard in Times Square.
It
I saw
is,
which one
yeah.
it is. But, yeah, I'm sure someone in a Texas Tech alum owned that billboard.
Yeah,
It was
sure.
just funny.
And it was just crazy.
When I saw that, because I follow a lot of people in Lubbock still, in Odessa, Texas, and I'm seeing OMG Brendan coming home. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's from Denton and grew up an Oklahoma fan.
Yeah.
But
Gotta make a.
I'm funny. Not to go all West Texas here, because I know people in Cincinnati do not care. But Brendan and I first bonded over when he couldn't get any offers. Because he asked me, about my career, where I started. He's genuinely just a good dude. And I was like, yeah, my first job was in Odessa, Texas. He goes, Texas Permian Basin. I go, what? He goes, yeah, UTPB. I go, the Falcons? He goes, yeah, they're a Division II school that started from literally nothing. I used to host their show. I host the Bearcat show now. I hosted the UTPB Falcon Focus show with head coach Justin Carrigan.
Huge.
And no, low key, I mean, he's a little bit younger, but I could have been hosting Brendan Sorsby there because that's where he thought he was going.
Yeah.
Because he had no Division I offers.
Yeah, no, I mean, huge
look at
rise
the
for
come up.
him.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I'm just what's happening? What
Yeah.
world are we living in where this is happening with the portal? I did note Texas Tech comes to UC next year, next season, so that'll be fun.
I think fans should cheer for him, and I think they will.
I think they will.
So I have from a reliable source about Sorsby, because if you remember, Scott Satterfield said that they couldn't afford him.
Yeah.
From a reliable source told me that UC actually offered him a very good competitive offer. These schools just blew the roof off.
Doesn't
They just
matter.
blew the roof off.
Yeah.
It was they offered him a competitive rate. So he was getting compensated very well last year. I don't have the number. But it was a substantial raise they offered him. Can't compete with Texas Tech and LSU money. You just can't.
No, it's impossible.
So I know UC got a lot of flack for that. From what I heard, they genuinely gave the best offer they could, and it was a massive raise. So that's the way the cookie crumbles. You see Scott Satterfield, he's out in the portal, he's picking guys up. When the portal closes, maybe we'll talk more about it.
Yeah, I think I did have
Pryor's in the portal, right?
Pryor's going to Florida.
That's right.
Yeah, Pryor's going to Florida. Sinks is going to IU. And then I did note UC signed Notre Dame running back Jabron Payne.
Oh, he LaSalle.
He went to LaSalle.
Yeah. Very cool.
So he's I think they filled up their running backs room already. So
That sounds like
he's
Satterfield.
one of them. Yeah, they just need a quarterback and some receivers for sure.
And you know what? I believe Scott Satterfield will get a quarterback because even he got Sorsby, and even before that, when he got Emory Jones, no, Emory didn't really work out here. He looked good for the first few weeks. He was older, but Scott Satterfield got here late when he was hired, and he went out and got a sought-after veteran quarterback. So I actually do have confidence. If I have confidence in anything, is that Satterfield knows how to evaluate quarterback talent.
Yeah.
So I think that we'll get a quarterback. It's kind of what we talked about, getting that group of 5 guy, getting maybe that guy who's second on a SEC roster.
Basically, UC is just the Bengals at this point. Getting like a mid-hype guy because you can't afford the like top guy.
The difference is the Bengals do have the top guys, and they still can't figure it out.
No, yeah, I'm talking about in like the portal or the off-season-esque situation. Like the Bengals are never going to spend more money than they already have.
No.
So.
Let's talk about their basketball team. They play tonight. When you'll hear this as the day before. They play West Virginia, which I call the must-win game for them.
Yeah, I think like everything is about to be must-win.
Well, I know. So you have it listed here how they're 95 in the net rankings. They need to they can only lose like 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe if you go 500 in Big 12 play, they're going to put you in.
I guess it's a hard road, mostly because their other wins are terrible.
Yes, I just think though, if I've learned with this newer format, if you're in the Big 12, Big 10, maybe the Big East, one of these like power basketball conference, not the Big East this year, but other years.
Famously the SEC.
The SEC, right. You go 500, they're going to find a way for you in over some Sisters of the Poor in Idaho. Like they're just going to do that.
Although you would have said that last year about UC. They were like the highest like.
Yeah, and like that could be like a sorry for last year thing too.
Yeah,
like,
they do that.
Yeah, they do that often.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the stats might say one thing. I think the goal is you go 500, and the goal is to win every game.
Yes.
But go 500 in the Big 12. Whatever. But let's first talk about they lost to Houston. And I know this is going to be dated for some people because of the West Virginia game, but what I want to talk about the Houston game is Houston at the time was the number 8 team in the country. Houston. Kelvin Sampson, their head coach, is, I believe, the winningest current head coach in college basketball. And UC looked very good for a lot of the game. Well, at first it was like what 2-0 or 2-2 at 16 at the 4-minute timeout. Under 16 in the first half. Then it was 4-4 at the under 12. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm at Fifth Third Arena.
Rock fight.
I'm like, everyone is booing the whole game. People online were like, we weren't booing that much. Yeah, you were. Every time Wes Miller's name showered in booze.
Yeah.
So then they're up by 5 at the half. It was Day Thomas who they moved. It looked like they moved Jizzle to the point, Day to the 2 to give Day more opportunities, and he made the most of it. He scored 12 points going into the half. He had an 8-0 run by himself. And then I give UC even more credit. They did well defensively.
They did great defensively.
And that's what Houston kind of does, too.
Yeah.
Coming out of the half, they shut Day down. So Mustafa Time, he drops. He goes 6 for 7 in the next half. Like they were figuring it out. Here's the issue. 3 minutes and 52 seconds left in the game. The score is 60-60.
Yeah.
UC had to lead as many as by 10, but the fact that you're tied with a top 10 team in the country, a team that now you're 0-13 against in your last 13 games.
Yeah.
Wes Miller's never beat Houston. That it's 60-60. The last 3 minutes and 52 seconds, you don't score a single point. You miss every free throw.
That was rough. It was a rough watch.
So that was really bad. And Wes Miller coming out saying we just need to finish, not turn the ball over. Yeah, you're right. It's like that for 4 years. The post-game comment that stood out the most to me, Kelvin Sampson was asked about this rivalry, because it's not a rivalry for Houston, but this rivalry.
I don't even think it's really a rivalry for
It was just that I said it's not it's just that the AAC.
Yeah.
And it used to be all Cincinnati. So the question was phrased, Cincinnati used to dominate Houston. Now Houston's 13-0 in their last 13. Basically, like, do you guys like? The question was poorly phrased, but it was like, basically talk about it. And Kelvin Sampson was like, well, he goes on a whole thing about Oscar Robertson,
iconic,
which was great. I put that on social media.
Well, you know that Kelvin was like, what do I remember of Cincinnati? Really, just Oscar?
He's like, I was telling the guys during shoot-around. Well, no, because then he talked about Bob Huggins, who famously has not been here in a very long time. And then, you know, he was like telling how great Oscar was, how tough Bob Huggins' teams were. And then he goes, and you know, this used to be one of the bell cow programs. Things change.
Yeah.
And then he kept going. And I'm looking around. Did anyone else just hear this man say that?
Yeah.
Unk just said that. So, and I posted that, and people were like, man, the truth does hurt. Like, this is the most polite roasting we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
So, that's UC.
But that is UC right now.
Yeah, they got West Virginia. Bearcats All Access Saturday morning. Tune in. Nah, tune in. We'll talk some good stuff.
Xavier.
Xavier, yeah, they can't compete. UConn would just like, you done, and then DePaul.
Lost to DePaul.
Yeah, that was one of their 3 Big East wins they were hoping for. Yeah, that was not good.
Yeah, and once again,
no report card from Richard Pitino. I did see his dad, Rick Pitino, get big mad at Madison Square Garden because I think it was Providence was there, and Providence had more fans in the Garden than St. John's.
Yeah,
and I was like, literally, these are the same people. I loved that. Maybe I will say this every week. I think there's hope for Xavier down the road with Richard Pitino. I just think this year is what it is.
That's beautiful.
30 seconds on baseball, or not even.
I say skip baseball.
We'll have we promise you next week we have some fun baseball stuff, but this is pretty evergreen stuff.
Yeah.
Cincy Dude in the News, which perfectly lines up with college basketball.
Yes.
The Cincy Dudes are the Miami Redhawks in Oxford. There are 2 Cincy guys on the team that are top 5 in scoring. Ian Elmer, Taft alum, and Evan Ipsaro, great point guard. He's actually out towards ACL like a week or 2 ago. But Travis Steele, former Xavier coach, they're the only non-Power 4 team in the country to be a perfect, at this time, because they played tonight, 15-0. Perfect. And they're, 57 in the net?
They're 57 in the net. They are higher than both UC and Xavier.
Yeah. And I've met with Travis Steele a couple times up in Oxford. Man, that man is just happy there. I'm sure I'll go chat with him the next week or 2. But, even if I don't think he's ever leaving Miami. I think he's just, he dealt with leaving Xavier, and now he's just, the king of Oxford. And keep winning like this, yeah. Love that story for Miami. Reminds me of the Wally Zerbiak days.
Yeah, huge.
But my favorite guy, even though I love to keep things kind of local, the second leading scorer on the Miami Redhawks, Almer Atlason. He's a transfer from Bradley, but what is it in college basketball?
Yeah.
But it's not the journey you took this time. It's where you came from. Reykjavik, Iceland. I've never heard of a Division I college basketball player from Iceland. I'm sure there are, but you can recruit in your backyard.
Yeah.
And I guess Bradley's in Illinois, but whatever. Let's just pretend Bradley never happened. Iceland? That's kind of sick.
Traveling to Iceland to meet up with them.
If I'm in Iceland, I'm there, watching the Northern Lights, hiking. I ain't picking up a basketball.
I'm not playing basketball.
But you know what? Ball do be life for some people.
Yeah. No, good for him.
We love that. So that's our Cincy Dude in the News. People from Oxford and a guy literally from Iceland.
Not from Oxford, because
the
players are from the
which is great.
Cincinnati
I love
area.
that Ian Elmer. Oh my God, we have a video somewhere. I'm sure we have it online. I think Caleb posted it of Elmer when he was at Taft when I was here 3 or 4 years ago. Just posterizing someone in the tournament. Yeah, kid's an athlete.
And maybe he can posterize somebody in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, Miami's going to be the fun Cinderella pick.
Charleston-esque pick.
They have to win the MAC, though. But, yeah, that could be really fun. I don't think there's any chance they could get an at-large bid. Unless they literally win every game except for the MAC championship. So that would be, but we're a long way from there.
They need to win.
We're a long way from there, but I don't know anyone on the MAC who's really gonna.
But even let me just say this: even if they don't make the tournament, sick.
15-0 is sick.
Yeah, you're up there with teams that everybody knows, and then it's Miami parentheses OH. I'm happy for them.
I am too. All right, that's all we got.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do more next week. Thanks so much for hanging out. Please rate, subscribe, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Keep saying hi in the street. It means the world to us. And let us know what you want. Slide in the DM, slide in the comments, all the things. Relax, it's just sports.